Everything that God made was, is, and will always be beautiful and good. From the stars in the sky to the sea, everything around us is a reflection of God's goodness. Now, we know that with our head, but we have a hard time believing that with our heart. See, I'm a believer that God is a creator of goodness because God naturally is good. The DNA of God is filled of goodness and love and mercy and grace. It is not something that God tries to be or do. It is who God is. And therefore, everything that God touches is naturally and organically and, of course, beautiful because God is beautiful. And if therefore God is good and all the things that God creates around us is beautiful and perfect and filled with goodness and beauty, then we can conclude, we can agree, we can come in agreement that we are beautifully made. The author in the book of Psalm comes to a realization. He comes to have an empathy. He comes to have a revelation of who he is. Because in Psalm 139, verse 13 to 16, the author of Psalm says to God, "For you," talking to God, "for you formed my inward part. You knitted me together in my mother's womb." Meaning, I wasn't an accident. I wasn't an afterthought. No, you carefully thought of me, placed me in my mother's womb, made sure that I had enough air, I had enough oxygen to be born. It seems that he is telling God, "I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. For my soul knows it very well." And I want to quickly ask you right now, before you go back to living your great life, I want to quickly ask you, does your soul know it very well? Does your soul know that you are wonderfully, intentionally made and created? Does your soul know the truth that you are defined by God's fingerprints on your life? Even if people don't see it, even if people refuse to see it, even if people refuse to admit it, can your soul know it well? And of course, it goes on to say, "My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depth of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them." This author, this person is talking to God because he come to understand, he come to realize. A lot of people don't come to realize because a lot of us, we try to define ourselves by the blood. Wait, Dr. Ornella, what do you mean by that? What I mean by that is the story of the woman with the issue of blood, the woman who was told for years that that's who she is. She was defined by her issue. People refused to see her beauty. People chose to define her by her blood. But that woman came to understand, I am more than my blood. I am more than my past mistakes. I am more than my flaws. And sometimes people keep defining you from who you used to be. People, every time you try to go higher, every time you try to be wiser, every time you try to be more disciplined, every time you try to have better standard, every time you try to have better boundaries, people take you back to who you used to be. People try to remind you that like, hey, I used to know you in school. Hey, I used to remember who you used to date. Hey, I remember what we used to do together on weekend. People try to bring you back and back and back. And this woman, people were trying to take her back, but she refused. She went and touched the garment of Jesus because she had faith that she was wonderfully made, and she refused to settle for the blood. She refused to be stuck in how her issues were making her look. And I want to quickly ask you, as I go on my day and as you go on yours, does your soul know it well? Do you have faith that you can be more even if people around you refuse it? Because the woman with the issue of blood, she refused to listen to people. She refused to listen to her past. She's decided, I am going to be more than the blood. I am going to be more than my issue, because I am wonderfully made and formed, and I am on this earth on purpose. Even if I have made bad mistakes in the past, even if I didn't know how to do self-love in the past, even if I didn't have anger management, even if I didn't have time management, you know, a lot of us, we keep going back to shame, going back to guilt, going back to what we wish we could change. But right now, God is trying to tell you, I make everything wonderfully. Everything that I do as God is good and wonderful. And I want to tell you today, I don't know what you're going through. I don't know the insecurities you're fighting, but I want to remind you today that the God who has made the earth, the God who taught you and made you and formed you in your mother's womb, is the God who is telling you today, you are more than your issues. You are more than your blood. You are wonderfully and beautifully made. And it is time for your soul to know it well.